because like marketing channels hit sometimes they don't. When I started, texting was big and cold calling was big, right? And then it went to PPC, and it's still PPC, but it's expensive. So it's just been like this, right? And that's business. And I think everyone should get into business because it makes you a better person. You want to improve yourself. You want to be a better leader. You want to be more patient and kind, and it just makes you better, right?
Welcome to the Ascend Your Success podcast. Whether you're just starting out or are a veteran looking to grow your business, you're in the right place. Join us to learn how to achieve financial freedom while working and living life on your own terms. Hear valuable insights, strategies, and interviews with successful entrepreneurs. Get ready to achieve the success you've always dreamed of. Ready? Let's go.
What's going on, guys? My name is Wyatt Reed, and this is the Ascend Your Success podcast. And today I get to interview my friend Nathan Payne with Painless Flipping. And me and Nathan are in a couple of groups together. I think we share a mentor. So I think this is going to be a really, really great conversation we have today. So Nathan, man, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate.
Bro, I appreciate that intro. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this podcast. So let's dive into, you said how I got started in real estate?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's do it. So when I first started real estate, like I didn't really have any previous desire to get in real estate. I just didn't know that I wanted to get into it. But my buddy in college, his dad was a wholesaler in Missouri. And my buddy in college was always trying to like do lease options and deals in college. Well, sold door to door in college. I sold Dish Network, satellite, door to door. And we would always try and get each other to work for each other. So like I'd be like, hey man, quit doing real estate. Come work for me and make a lot of money. And he's like, come work with me. So anyway, didn't really get each other to come to our side during college, but after I graduated, I didn't want to do door-to-door anymore. I was like, I couldn't see myself being like an old man knock on people's doors selling stuff. So I called him. I said, hey, you still doing real estate? I need to make some money, and I kind of don't want to do that anymore. And he's like, yeah, actually, I'm doing a tech job because we ended up living in Salt Lake. We went to school in Idaho, but we moved our families after we got married. We were in Salt Lake, and he was doing tech, but he's like, I want to get into real estate. I was like, so do I. Let's just go for it. I didn't know anything about real estate. I just knew it made money. So I was like, let's do it. So he quit his job, and I slowly transitioned just from not knocking anymore to just doing this full time. And that was it. No knowledge, no understanding, didn't know what wholesaling was. It was just like, let's get into real estate.
Dude, I think that's huge that you started off already overcoming that fear of rejection because you were a door-to-door salesman, right? I think that's something that everybody that's new, that's never been in sales before goes through. And it's one of the things that I start talking about from the beginning is like, hey, you're going to get cussed out. You're going to, this is going to happen. You're dealing with people in sales. So yeah, be ready for it,
Bro, I've been rejected my whole life. Girls, I went on a mission for my church where I talked to people about Jesus for 2 years, got rejected for 2 years straight. No, you want anyone to come talk to you about Jesus? Most people are like, get away from me, right? So that happened, college, trying to get married, trying to find girls on dates, girls not being interested a lot. Obviously, you're not going to win all of them. You only marry one girl. So yeah, man. Yeah, I was getting rejected, and I love rejection. Bring it on. Let's go.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, we shared the gospel in the streets of Addis in Africa, and golly, it was crazy, bro. Like the things that they do and say, it's wild. But
it is.
I love it. So kind of tell us, you started out wholesaling, right? That was your strategy from the very beginning. And I think a lot of people want to start wholesaling. Maybe it's because of a lack of knowledge, that they can utilize other people's money to buy rental properties or things like that, or they just want to get quick cash coming in, right? And so how did you start that? Because I think a lot of people think they can do it for free, whereas like some people may be under the assumption that you've got to pay for direct-to-seller marketing to wholesale. So kind of talk us through that, how you got started in wholesaling, finding leads.
Great questions. When I first started, I had the understanding if you want to go sell something, you got to go talk to people. You just got to go find someone. So I was like, well, let's go knock some doors. I've been doing that. Let's just go ask people if they want to sell their house. So that's what we did. We didn't have any money. We had so we both were married. Corey, my business partner at the time, and me were married. Our wives had jobs, and I saved up quite a bit of money from door to door. So I was never like, oh my gosh, I got like $1 in my account, just to let everybody know, like it wasn't like a scary thing for me to try this. But our wives were like, yeah, go ahead, you can try this, but you got to start from nothing. We're not going to give you anything. So we started with no money. So we're like, well, what are we going to do? I was like, well, the free lead gen, let's go knock on some doors and call for sale by owners. So that's what we did. And after doing that and being scared to do it, like I was scared. Like, even though I'm saying right now, big and bad, like, oh, forget rejection. Like it sucks no matter what. You just have to go through it. So we started knocking doors, and then within a month we were like, this sucks. We're going to keep doing it, but it sucks. There's got to be a better way. So then we started reaching out to agents and brokers and realtors on our Facebook. We're like, hey, can we just talk to somebody who's doing this business? And we ended up networking with a broker who had a dream that he was wholesaling in Missouri. He told us, we went to his office. He's like, I had a dream, boys. I had a dream that I'm wholesaling in Missouri. I don't know why. And we're like, well, Corey's dad's from Missouri and he wholesales. Maybe this is meant to be. He's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do for you guys. I have this office. You guys can come and work in those 2 cubicles over there. I'll give you a Mojo dialer, and I'll give you a bunch of lists to call. He said, here's the expired listings list. Here's the phone book. Just call everybody. And we're like, okay. So that's kind of how we got started. Like, a broker was just like, hey, just make some calls. Any deals you get from it are yours when you wholesale, but get me some listings if they don't want to. That was where he was going to get money, right? He's like, hey, just freaking call. So he hired 2 free cold callers that were gung ho, right? And we went for it. So that's the beginning of the journey.
Yeah, that speaks a lot into network and like just getting out there and talking to people. I just interviewed one of my students. He's 21 years old and he just made a $220,000 assignment. Now he split that with his partner, so he made a $110,000 assignment. And his partner was a guy that he didn't even know, that just he had an accent, and he brought him a deal and said, hey, if you help me get this, I'll split it with you 50-50. So they didn't know each other besides like what they've seen on Facebook, and they done that amazing deal. And that just goes to show you, like you said, you've got to get out, you got to talk to people, you got to network with realtors, with contractors, with anybody and everything. You don't have to spend a lot of money up front to get into this game, right?
Yeah, I just did an $86,000 deal because someone that I roll with in jiu-jitsu, I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and I MMA and stuff like that. Somebody that I roll with that like blew out my knee like 2 years ago, like on accident, but he just like hurt my knee. We're just buddies, and he's like, hey man, I got a friend that wants to sell their house, 86K, just from going to the gym.
Yep. Everybody should know what you do, like at all times. It don't matter if it's the milkman, the mailman, or person in Walmart. They should know what you do at all times.
That's it. You said it.
So how did you transition from that first couple of deals into like, I know for me, my business model has changed a million times probably, right? So over the course of the last, how long have you been doing this?
6, 7 years now.
Yeah, so since you got that first couple of deals, how has your business changed over the course of those 6 to 7 years as far as getting deals and strategies? Like, what does that look like?
Oh my gosh, man.
That's a
It's
lot.
been a roller coaster ride, right? Because like marketing channels hit sometimes they don't. When I started, texting was big and cold calling was big, right? And then it went to PPC, and it's still PPC, but it's expensive. So it's just been like this, right? And that's business. And I think everyone should get into business because it makes you a better person. You want to improve yourself. You want to be a better leader. You want to be more patient and kind, and it just makes you better, right? So anyway, a lot of changes, and it will continue to change forever and ever. That's just how it is, especially with technology, AI, rules, laws. But I started out just getting deals myself. I was sourcing my own deals. Then we hired a team, and then we started getting like acquisitions, built the whole scaled, right? And then that got really expensive, right? Overhead was huge. And then interest rates went up, and we were flipping a lot, and then we got rocked. So then we went back to the drawing board, and at that time, my business partner, we parted ways because he's like, yo, this business sucks. And I was like, yeah, I still like it. I'll still do it. So then I transitioned to doing a really small team where it was just me and a VA, and we just did like a deal a month, like 2, and I was making more money because I had like no overhead, no marketing than when I was doing like 10 deals a month. So it really just depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to build, if you care about having like employees and having like building something bigger, like a bigger team, sure. Is that hard? Yeah, it's hard. Is it hard to work for yourself? Yeah, sure, that's hard too. Everything's hard because it requires work. It just depends what model you want to run. So the model I run right now is like no overhead, no marketing, like VA, right? A CRM, some like really cheap stuff, and just doing a deal or two a month. That's it. And I teach people how to do this because the people I work with, they're not ready to build and scale and grow yet. That takes time. So we just get people their first or next deal and teach them how to like grow as leaders and entrepreneurs.
Dude, I love that because I relate to it so much. We got in, we started doing deals, and then just blew up. Like you said, we had an office, we had utilities, Wi-Fi, we had
Oh.
2 or 3 employees, and
Mhm.
it quickly grew to like 30,000 a month, just to run the business. That's
Right.
not even paying yourself. And so
Exactly.
we were like hot and heavy, 5 to 6 flips at a time. You know, we absolutely hated our lives. We were unhealthy. Our families were being torn apart. And it was crazy. So
Exactly.
we
Yep.
hit this wall and we said, hey, we can no longer do this. Like, we've got to figure out a better way. And that's when we started like buying and seller financing. And, with the seller financing model, you get the down payment up front and you get cash flow, which is normally more than just a regular rental. And then, you don't have those responsibilities of being a landlord because they're buying the property, right? So
Yeah, love
that,
it.
for us, that was the big change. And like, now that we've got our cash flow right, you can't tell us nothing. Like, we ain't gonna do
Exactly.
do anything that we don't want to do, right? So I think you should always go into it with that open mind of, yeah, let's hit that goal, but let's take a step back and say, is this really what we want to do after we hit that goal? Do we want to scale it up more
Exactly.
or not?
Yeah, essentially you're becoming an entrepreneur to free up your time. That's like why you want to do it, right? Some people want money, but money really just gives you more time, right? It should. That's my goal is time with my family. It's not necessarily like a revenue goal or like trying to be a multi like billionaire or anything crazy, own a tons of properties. It's really I want to be financially like good, set my family up and have time to spend time with my daughter, right? My family.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it depends what model you want. Like if you want a big team, you want to be busy, sure, go ahead. And some people build that out and then they're like they are free. But I wouldn't say you start that immediately. You're not going to get there
Right.
immediately.
Let me ask you this, because I've started asking this question here lately because it's something that I deal with a lot, and it's interesting to get other people's opinions on it. But for me, I hang out, and I'm sure you do too, with a lot of people doing a lot bigger things than you, and
Yeah.
they're doing different things, right? We hang out with people that have big teams and do stuff all the time, and when I hang out with those people, sometimes, a lot of times, in the back of my head, it's like, I've done that before. I hated it. But I know that for in just a couple of weeks, I could flip that switch and I could build it back, and it could probably be better. But
Oh, of
do you deal with that at all? Like, in the back of your head, like always wanting to do something else, like something big.
I don't know, man. My core values and like what is important to me in life is like so dialed in. When I see people making tons and tons of like money, I know there's a lot more to the story,
Oh
and
yeah,
I don't really care. Like if they're like, "Oh man, we just did like 10, 20 deals," I'm like, "Cool. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than just that, right?" So personally, for me, like I'm friends with a lot of people in different like levels of income and like in their lives. And for me, the thing that matters most to me is family and God. So as long as I have that time, I could be making $1. As long as I'm surviving and able to spend time with my family, I'm good, you know? Even though, like I said, I'm not making $1, but you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
just, to me, that's all that matters.
I think that is definitely a superpower to be able to hold off from that oh shiny syndrome. Like, for me, when I
Yeah.
first started, I was all over the place, and then, like, I realized if I started doing that, or if I continued to do that, then I would never be successful, right? And so whenever I do have those thoughts, I go back to exactly what you said. It's like I'm spending way more time with my family. I've gone on like 6 vacations this year, and
That's
like,
it.
why, I'm not working very, very much at all. So it's like,
Yeah,
why would you want
exactly.
me to go back to that? So
No, man, it's just I guess the environment we live in. We feel like we always got to be doing more, right? Like the more busy we are, the more efficient or productive we are. That's not true.
yeah,
You can be not busy and still be very efficient and like effective. So anyway, you just got to shut that voice down. I agree. My wife is actually like beating that out of me because I've always over the last like 5 years I was at work till like 6, 7. I was taking all those calls at night and trying to respond to all my employees at all hours of the night. Now I'm like, don't talk to me after 5 o'clock. I
yeah,
don't hit me up on the weekends. I tell the people that I work with, that my clients, I'm like, I'm busy. I'm with my family. Like, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna figure it out. So you set those right expectations and you live the lifestyle you want.
Yeah, one thing that I implemented that Tom taught me was you can actually go on and modify those little texts that you send to people that call you. And I implemented the should I step away from my family for this call,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so that's been huge. So I agree 100%. So um, going back to a new investor who is like gung ho and getting ready and getting ready to start their investing journey, what is what are you telling them like straight out the gate to be focused on? What advice are you giving them to like, if you could have done this back in the day, obviously you're coaching them to be better than what you were back in the day, right?
Right, right, right.
What does that look like?
So through coaching for a while now, I've realized that like the main issue that most people have is like taking action. Right? They like everybody is always looking for like the shiny thing, the sauce, the secret sauce. When the secret sauce is you just have to work, right? And you get better with time. Like you get better as you work and you improve your skill sets. So when I get people in, I'm like, all right, we're gonna teach you how to work efficiently and effectively. Like let's set your goals. Like what's your life goal? What's like your goal this year? Like let's reverse engineer what you really want, and let me show you how to get what you want. And it comes from consistent action. So my first like two, you could call them guides or modules to what I work with is like, all right, let's do your life plan and let's tell you how to do KPIs and how to accomplish that. That's the first thing I talk about because that's the problem. Most people like don't succeed in coaching programs. It's not because the sauce wasn't secret or like it wasn't good enough. It's because you look at their KPIs, they probably made 20 calls in the last like 3 months because they're scared. So I'm trying to attack the core of the problem, the core issue, and it's they're either scared, they don't feel confident, they're nervous, and I'm trying to show them, hey, it's you want to be an entrepreneur, it's going to take work and you got to hold yourself accountable. I can't always be there to tell you like, hey, get on the phone. No, you got to hold yourself accountable. So again, that's what I teach. Goals and accountability and holding yourself accountable. And then we teach them the strategy.
Yeah, that's so important. I love it. You got to have the vision before you attack because you don't know what you're even looking for, like
Yeah,
what you're shooting for, right? So
exactly. You start with the end in mind.
love it. So how can we when we start working with you? What are you going to be teaching us? Like talk to us a little bit about what you teach and how you teach it.
So the way that I teach people that are brand new, again, is like they're venturing into the world of being an entrepreneur when a lot of them don't. Maybe they've worked for someone their whole lives and they don't really know how to hold themselves accountable, right? Or what to do. So I set them, let's start with the vision. What do you want to accomplish? And do the activities that you want, that you have to do they align with your vision? Because like if you want something and it doesn't align like with what you got to do every day, like you don't believe that you're helping people, and that's like in wholesaling or like real estate, you don't believe that, then it's gonna be really hard to want to call people if you deep down your core value like you believe that you're taking advantage of people. So we have to identify what you want and does it align with what you have to do. Okay, then we start with that, and then we show you how to operate every day, how to take action, and then we implement the strategy. And the strategy, implement any strategy, right? Like you can call agents, you can call pre-foreclosures, you can start reaching out and doing seller finance. To me, it's just that's the core, and then you implement like what you need to do. But what I teach people is how to go for after pre-foreclosures, because I believe that pre-foreclosures are a good list to hit, and not only that, there's not that many of them, so it's not going to drain your bank account as a new investor versus absentee owner. You pull the whole list, you skip trace it all, you got to cold call all day. It's going to be tough. So I say, hey, pull a little list. Your goal is to get a hold of everybody on that list and help them. Like honestly, like go in there with genuine love and try to serve them. And you're going to stand out from the guys just like, hey, do you want to sell? Hey, are you selling? No, we're going in there like, hey, how can we help? I know you want to stay in the house. How can we help you out? And then we build that trust. And then from that point, we work with those people if they're ready to sell.
Dude,
So that's what I teach.
I've got three guys that are thriving off of the pre-foreclosure side of things right now, and it's exactly what you said. Like you can't just go in trying to take advantage of a bad situation. You've got to be a problem solver. You've got to have a heart to help these people. I mean, I think that's for anything that you're doing in business. Like you don't want to be one of them sleazy guys that are just trying to get it for themselves, right? You got to have a heart for others. Like so, yeah, absolutely, man. I love that. So, tell us, how can we get a hold of you so that we can have a conversation about coaching?
Yeah. For me, like, I don't think many people want to just go out and be like, hey, Nate, tell me about your coaching. Or that's just my thought process. So what I like to do is I like to just give and give people like information, right? Not necessarily information, but a way that they can implement what I'm talking about. So I have a Facebook group. It's called the Painless Flipping Free Facebook group, where I give a free course out. It's a wholesaling course where it tells you how to do the whole thing from A to Z. Like, just get started and go get a deal. It's got helped a lot of people get deals so far with zero marketing spend. And that's what I would say. Like, don't just hit me up and be like, hey, I want to work. I want you to coach me. Because I honestly think you need to just go to my Facebook group, go through that course, and then if you like what I have, let's talk. But just that would be my thing. Just go to the Facebook group, see if you like my style. Because why right here, you might be able to say something different than I and connect with people differently than I can. So I think most importantly is, do you like who you're learning from, right? Do you vibe with them? I don't vibe with everybody. Like, I have some people that come in and they care about the Ferraris and they're like, dude, I just want to make tons of money. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. That's not really, I'm not going to push you away, but that's just not who I am. We're probably not going to vibe. In my head, I'm thinking this.
Right.
And then I get, people who are family people. They want to, like, make money for their families and better themselves. I vibe with that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm just saying, just check my stuff out and see if you even like me.
Yeah, I think that's huge, and that's something that I've learned over the course of the past 5 years as well. Coaching is that I would much rather foster a community of like-minded individuals, and who are doing deals together, who are encouraging, sharpening, really based off of what I say the church, the old Acts
Right.
church was, right? That
Yeah.
they're go-givers. They want to do
That's
deals.
it.
They want to see each other succeed. And so that's over the past couple of years has what I've been trying to foster as well. So I think that's awesome, that you have all that free stuff. You don't really see that much with people. They're always pushing sales. So that's
Yeah.
amazing, man. I love it. I love it. Well, dude, I appreciate. Is there anything else before we get off here that we may not have hit on, or any advice that you can give these guys, or anything that you just want to share before we get off here?
I would just say, just go into it with the right mindset. Like, everything is hard. Everything is difficult, right? Like, it's not like wholesaling is going to be the magic pill that's like, oh, bro, this is the greatest thing ever. It's so easy. Like, no, it's entrepreneurship. You got competition. It's a game. You're gonna have ups and downs, like we've had and we'll continue to have. Just go in it with the right mindset. It's like, I've chosen this path. I want to, work for myself. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, and it will be worth it. So just keep that in mind. Go into the right mindset.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this. We'll probably have you back too, because this,
Oh,
there's not a lot you can share in 20 minutes. So we'll definitely have more to talk about for sure. But man, I just appreciate you coming on and just sharing.
thank you, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Absolutely. Hey, if you guys heard anything that you liked or that you want to have a conversation about, check out all the other podcasts. See if you're a good fit for us. If you think you may want to have a conversation with us, go to ascendyoursuccess.com. You'll have a conversation with me personally. I look at every single one of these applications, and we just have a good conversation. But if not, I'll see you on the next one. Awesome.